We've announced we're investing $1 billion in our U.S. manufacturing plants for our HELM engine platforms, which stands for high efficiency.
Freightliner just pulled off the biggest engineering ambush the EV world didn't see coming. While politicians and tech billionaires pushed electric trucks nobody asked for, Freightliner built something for the people who actually keep this country moving. Clean, affordable, and built for real routes. Why were drivers kept out of the conversation? How did the media miss a revolution in plain sight? And who's really behind the electric mandates killing small fleets? Stick around, because this isn't just an engine, it's a warning shot. The silent revolution? The decision didn't just reshape an industry, it shattered the entire electric vehicle narrative. While Tesla dominated headlines with promises of electric semi-trucks, and Volvo pushed battery-powered freight solutions, something extraordinary was happening in the quiet corridors of Daimler Truck North America. John O'Leary, the seasoned CEO who had spent decades understanding what truckers actually needed, was about to make a move that would expose the biggest lie in modern transportation. The numbers told a story that Silicon Valley didn't want to hear. Across America's vast highway network, 1,500 public compressed natural gas stations already dotted the landscape, while electric charging infrastructure for heavy-duty trucks remained virtually non-existent outside major metropolitan corridors. Fleet operators managing hundreds of vehicles faced an impossible choice: embrace electric technology that couldn't handle their real-world routes, or stick with diesel engines that governments increasingly wanted to ban. Market statistics revealed Freightliner's commanding 40% share of the Class 8 truck segment, a dominance built on understanding practical transportation needs rather than chasing technological fantasies. Economic indicators showed that while electric truck production struggled with battery costs exceeding $100,000 per vehicle, natural gas infrastructure costs remained a fraction of electric grid upgrades. Industry metrics demonstrated what every long-haul driver already knew: you can't move freight efficiently when your truck needs 8 hours to charge every 400 miles. Behind the corporate facade, O'Leary had been quietly conducting the most important market research of his career. Supply chain effects from electric truck mandates threatened to strangle the logistics networks that kept America running. Small trucking companies faced extinction, unable to afford electric vehicles or the infrastructure to support them. Independent owner-operators, the backbone of American freight movement, watched helplessly as regulatory pressure pushed them toward bankruptcy. That's when O'Leary realized the entire industry was chasing the wrong solution, and he was about to prove it. If you're starting to realize this isn't just about engines, it's about who controls the future of American transportation, then hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. Behind the boardroom doors, the middle-class truck drivers weren't just being overlooked, they were being abandoned. In the mahogany-paneled conference rooms where transportation policy was shaped, the voices that mattered most were conspicuously absent. Fleet owners spoke in abstract terms about environmental goals, while the men and women who actually moved America's goods faced an existential crisis that no one seemed willing to acknowledge. Maria Santos had been driving long-haul routes for Werner Enterprises for 12 years, watching as her industry became a political football kicked between environmental activists and corporate executives who had never spent a night in a truck cab. Range anxiety wasn't just a concern for her, it was an economic death sentence. Electric trucks promised 300 miles of range under perfect conditions, but Maria regularly ran 800-mile stretches through mountain passes where charging stations didn't exist and couldn't exist. The human cost of electric mandates extended far beyond individual drivers. Small communities built around truck stops faced economic devastation as electric charging infrastructure concentrated in urban areas. Rural America, already struggling with economic isolation, watched as transportation policy threatened to cut them off entirely from the national supply chain. Consumer reactions from logistics managers revealed a stark truth: the electric transition wasn't just impractical, it was impossible given current technology and infrastructure realities. O'Leary understood something that Tesla's engineers missed from their Silicon Valley offices. Transportation wasn't just about moving vehicles from point A to point B, it was about supporting families, communities, and an entire economic ecosystem built around practical, reliable technology. The corporate drama intensifying within Freightliner reflected a deeper philosophical divide between idealistic environmental goals and operational necessity. Social movements within the trucking industry began demanding alternatives that recognized their expertise and economic needs. Independent truckers organized to challenge regulations written by people who had never driven a commercial vehicle. Fleet operators demanded representation in policy discussions that would determine their survival. The cultural significance of these developments extended beyond transportation. They represented working-class Americans fighting for their economic future against policies that seemed designed to eliminate their livelihoods. The consequences would ripple across every truck stop in America, but O'Leary had a plan that nobody saw coming. The Cummins Connection. What if the biggest breakthrough wasn't happening in Silicon Valley but in Columbus, Indiana? While tech companies captured media attention with flashy electric vehicle announcements, the real innovation was taking place in American manufacturing facilities where engineers understood the difference between theoretical performance and real-world reliability. The partnership between Freightliner and Cummins represented more than a business arrangement. It symbolized American manufacturing excellence, challenging West Coast technological dominance. Political implications of this collaboration extended far beyond corporate boardrooms, representing domestic energy independence and manufacturing job preservation in heartland communities. Corporate strategy behind the partnership development involved months of confidential meetings where engineers and executives mapped out a future that didn't require choosing between environmental responsibility and economic survival. Tom Harrison, a Cummins engineer who had spent 15 years developing natural gas engine technology, understood the magnitude of what they were attempting. The industry evolution from a diesel-electric binary to a multi-fuel future required breakthrough engineering that could deliver diesel-equivalent performance while dramatically reducing emissions. Competitive dynamics shifted as European manufacturers scrambled to understand how American companies had quietly developed technology that solved problems their electric solutions couldn't address. The cultural significance of Midwest manufacturing challenging West Coast tech dominance resonated throughout industrial America. Corporate drama intensified during secret development meetings, where teams worked to perfect 15-liter natural gas technology that could match diesel performance while achieving 90% emission reductions. Personal stories from engineers revealed the passion driving innovation that prioritized practical solutions over trendy alternatives. Power dynamics between traditional automakers and tech companies began shifting as established manufacturers demonstrated superior understanding of real-world transportation needs. Global consequences of American leadership in alternative fuel innovation threatened to upset international competitive balances. Future scenarios emerged where natural gas became the preferred transition technology, providing environmental benefits without sacrificing operational capability. Meanwhile, in Germany, Daimler's parent company was watching everything unfold and making calculations that would change the global transportation landscape forever. The infrastructure reality. What happened next would expose the electric vehicle industry's biggest lie. The infrastructure promises that supported electric truck mandates crumbled under scrutiny of actual implementation costs and practical limitations. Cross-sector impacts linking energy production, transportation networks, and economic policy revealed the fantasy underlying electric transition timelines. Fleet manager Jennifer Walsh had run logistics operations for a regional grocery chain for 8 years, managing routes that kept food moving from distribution centers to stores across 3 states. Historical parallels between current electric mandates and previous failed technology adoptions in transportation became clear as she calculated the impossibility of electrifying her fleet. Pattern recognition in infrastructure development showed that natural gas systems could expand incrementally, while electric networks required massive upfront investments that bankrupted smaller operators. The personal stories emerging from fleet managers forced to choose between ideology and profitability illustrated the disconnect between environmental policy and economic reality. Corporate drama escalated as electric vehicle manufacturers realized their infrastructure promises were premature, built on optimistic projections rather than engineering assessments. Community impact on rural America, where electric charging remained impossible, highlighted the geographic bias underlying electric vehicle policy. Strategic lessons from failed technology adoptions in transportation history provided context for understanding why electric mandates faced resistance. Future projections showing natural gas as a bridge to hydrogen economy offered hope for environmental progress without economic destruction. Cross-sector impacts on energy production and grid stability revealed problems that electric vehicle advocates had ignored or minimized. The numbers revealed something no one in the electric vehicle industry wanted to admit. Their technology couldn't handle the transportation tasks that kept America running, but John O'Leary's alliance with Cummins had quietly developed the solution that could change everything. Engineering the impossible. Your understanding of natural gas engines just became obsolete overnight. Everything the transportation industry thought it knew about natural gas technology was about to be rewritten by a breakthrough so significant that it threatened to make electric trucks irrelevant before they could establish market dominance. Market analysis showed the X15N achieving performance specifications that matched diesel engines while delivering environmental benefits that exceeded electric alternatives. The engineering team at Cummins had solved problems that had plagued natural gas engines for decades. Economic impacts of 10% fuel economy improvement over previous natural gas engines represented millions in annual savings for large fleet operators. Industry statistics comparing torque curves across fuel types revealed that the X15N delivered 1,850 pound-feet of peak torque, performance that had been impossible with earlier natural gas technology. Dr. Sarah Chen, lead engineer on the X15N project, had spent 3 years solving thermal management challenges that had limited natural gas engine performance. Personal stories from her team revealed breakthrough moments when solutions emerged from months of testing and refinement. Corporate drama behind development highlighted the pressure to deliver diesel-equivalent performance while meeting increasingly stringent emission standards. Global trade implications became apparent as international markets demanded access to technology that could provide clean transportation without infrastructure limitations. Cultural significance of American engineering excellence challenging global competitors resonated through manufacturing communities that had watched jobs migrate overseas for decades. The 400 to 500 horsepower range matching diesel performance specifications represented a technological achievement that established manufacturers hadn't thought possible. Data integration showed 90% reduction in nitrogen oxide emissions below Environmental Protection Agency standards, performance that exceeded electric vehicles when accounting for electricity generation emissions. The breakthrough represented years of engineering innovation compressed into technology that could transform transportation immediately, rather than requiring decades of infrastructure development. Now, the entire diesel engine industry hung in the balance, but the real revolution was just beginning in America's trucking fleets. The fleet revolution. How does a century-old industry change overnight? One fleet at a time. The transformation happening in logistics operations across America represented more than technological adoption. It symbolized working-class Americans embracing clean technology that enhanced rather than threatened their livelihoods. Worker perspectives from Werner Enterprises and Knight transportation drivers revealed enthusiasm that surprised industry observers expecting resistance to alternative fuel adoption. Mike Rodriguez had driven for Werner Enterprises for 7 years, hauling freight across routes that took him from California to New York. Community impacts on logistics hubs adapting to natural gas technology created economic opportunities in regions that electric infrastructure had bypassed. Consumer reactions from supply chain managers seeing operational improvements contradicted predictions that alternative fuel adoption would disrupt established transportation networks. The X1500N testing program at Werner Enterprises produced results that challenged assumptions about natural gas engine capabilities. Personal stories from drivers experiencing diesel-like performance without emissions revealed the practical benefits that made adoption appealing rather than mandatory. Corporate drama escalated as fleet operators used natural gas alternatives to challenge electric vehicle mandates, demonstrating that environmental goals could be achieved without sacrificing operational efficiency. Social movements within the transportation industry embraced clean technology that respected their expertise and economic needs. Community impact on small trucking companies finding affordable clean technology provided hope for operators who faced bankruptcy under electric mandates. The cause-effect relationships between engine performance and driver satisfaction showed that successful technology adoption required understanding user needs rather than imposing theoretical solutions. Future implications for fleet electrification. Mandates shifted as natural gas technology demonstrated superior operational characteristics. Power dynamics between large carriers and independent owner-operators evolved as affordable clean technology became available to operators of all sizes. The practical benefits of natural gas technology created momentum that threatened to overwhelm electric vehicle adoption timelines. Behind the scenes, the real innovation was just beginning, as engineers prepared to reveal capabilities that would transform natural gas from alternative fuel to preferred solution. Beyond the engine, this wasn't just about engines anymore. It was about redefining transportation itself. The X-15N represented the first component of a comprehensive transformation that would reshape energy production, distribution, and consumption across multiple industries. Cross-sector impacts linked engine technology to fuel production and distribution networks that could support immediate deployment without massive infrastructure investments. Historical parallels between X-1500N development and previous breakthrough technologies revealed patterns of innovation that challenged established market leaders. Pattern recognition in market adoption and competitive response cycles suggested that natural gas technology could achieve market penetration faster than electric alternatives. Strategic lessons from successful technology transitions in transportation history provided roadmaps for scaling deployment across diverse market segments. James Mitchell, supply chain manager for a major retail corporation, had watched his industry struggle with electric vehicle limitations that threatened delivery schedules and increased costs. Personal stories from managers adapting to multi-fuel flexibility illustrated practical benefits that made natural gas adoption attractive rather than necessary. Corporate drama escalated as entire industries realigned around natural gas potential that offered immediate environmental benefits without operational disruption. Community impact on energy production facilities, expanding renewable gas capacity, created economic opportunities in rural areas that electric infrastructure had overlooked. The development represented economic diversification that strengthened rather than replaced existing energy systems. Future projections showing X-15N platform adaptability to hydrogen fuel positioned current investments for next-generation technology transitions. Cross-sector impacts on renewable energy production and waste management created synergies that enhanced, rather than competed with, electric alternatives. Global consequences of natural gas technology spreading internationally threatened to upset competitive balances that favored electric vehicle manufacturers. The innovation positioned America to lead energy transitions that other nations would follow. And the data we found revealed something the electric vehicle industry never anticipated. Their infrastructure promises weren't just optimistic, they were impossible given current technology and economic constraints. Market forces unleashed. The economics weren't just changing, they were being completely rewritten. Natural gas technology that could deliver environmental benefits without operational compromises created market dynamics that threatened electric vehicle business models. Political implications of natural gas challenging electric vehicle subsidies emerged as practical alternatives, reduced justification for government intervention. Corporate strategy evolved as manufacturers hedged between electric and gas technologies, recognizing that market forces rather than regulatory pressure would determine adoption patterns. Industry transformation from binary fuel choices to diversified energy portfolios offered flexibility that electric mandates had eliminated. Competitive dynamics accelerated as global markets embraced fuel diversity rather than electric monopolization. Investment analyst Rebecca Thompson had tracked transportation technology for a decade, watching as natural gas alternatives disrupted carefully constructed electric vehicle investment narratives. Corporate drama behind boardroom debates over technology investments revealed uncertainty that public statements had concealed. Personal stories from investors realigning portfolios around natural gas potential illustrated market recognition of technology advantages that media coverage had ignored. Cultural significance of market forces overriding political preferences demonstrated democracy functioning through economic choice rather than regulatory coercion. The shift represented validation of technologies that served, rather than challenged, existing operational requirements. Future scenarios where natural gas dominated heavy-duty transportation emerged as economic advantages overwhelmed ideological preferences. Global consequences of American natural gas technology: exports positioned domestic manufacturers to lead markets that electric vehicle companies had expected to dominate. Power dynamics between traditional energy and emerging technology sectors evolved as natural gas bridged, rather than replaced, existing systems. The transformation created opportunities for cooperation, rather than conflict between environmental goals and economic necessity. The entire clean transportation narrative was about to change forever, as natural gas technology demonstrated that environmental responsibility didn't require economic sacrifice. The competitive response: how do you compete with technology that solves problems you can't? Electric vehicle manufacturers faced the unprecedented challenge of responding to alternatives that exceeded their performance while matching their environmental benefits. Cross-sector impacts linked automotive, energy, and policy industries as natural gas technology disrupted carefully constructed market assumptions. Historical parallels between current disruption and previous technology shifts revealed patterns that suggested electric vehicle dominance might be temporary rather than inevitable. Pattern recognition in competitive response and market adaptation showed established manufacturers adapting faster than new entrants. Strategic lessons from successful and failed technology transitions provided guidance for navigating rapid market evolution. The response from electric vehicle engineers forced to reconsider fundamental assumptions revealed the depth of disruption that natural gas technology created. Personal stories from development teams scrambling to match natural gas capabilities illustrated pressure that media coverage had underestimated. Corporate drama escalated as manufacturers invested billions in electric technology, faced the possibility that their solutions might become obsolete. Community impact on regions dependent on electric vehicle manufacturing created political pressure to support struggling technologies rather than embracing superior alternatives. The geographic concentration of electric vehicle production created economic interests that conflicted with transportation needs. Future projections showed multi-fuel transportation ecosystem development that accommodated rather than eliminated electric applications. Cross-sector impacts on battery manufacturing and electric grid planning revealed cascading effects of natural gas adoption that extended beyond transportation. Global consequences accelerated as international markets followed American lead in embracing practical, clean technology. The competitive response represented more than technology development. It reflected fundamental reassessment of clean transportation strategies. Deep within the global supply chain, everything was shifting, as natural gas technology created new possibilities that electric vehicles couldn't match and established manufacturers couldn't ignore. The new energy landscape? In just 5 years, the entire global energy map would be redrawn. The natural gas revolution that began with Freightliner's strategic partnership with Cummins was expanding into a transformation that would reshape energy production, distribution, and consumption across continents. Market analysis projected 20% natural gas penetration in the Class 8 segment, disrupting electric vehicle timelines and challenging regulatory assumptions. Economic impacts of renewable natural gas production scaling globally created opportunities that electric infrastructure couldn't match. Industry statistics showed infrastructure development acceleration that bypassed electric charging limitations while providing immediate environmental benefits. Global trade implications positioned American natural gas technology as export leader in markets that had been conceded to foreign electric vehicle manufacturers. The corporate drama intensifying as entire industries realigned around natural gas potential revealed the magnitude of transformation that O'Leary's strategic gamble had unleashed. Dr. Amanda Foster, energy policy analyst who had tracked transportation technology for 15 years, watched as natural gas alternatives disrupted carefully constructed electric vehicle market projections. Personal stories from energy sector workers transitioning to renewable gas production illustrated economic opportunities that electric alternatives had eliminated. Cultural significance of American technology leadership in clean transportation resonated through manufacturing communities that had struggled with foreign competition. Over 40,000 X-15N engines deployed internationally demonstrated global acceptance of American innovation that combined environmental responsibility with operational excellence. Data integration showed 300% below zero emissions with renewable feedstock, performance that exceeded electric vehicles when accounting for battery production and electricity generation impacts. Infrastructure investment patterns shifted from electric to natural gas development as operators recognized deployment advantages and market acceptance. The transformation represented more than technology adoption. It reflected fundamental reassessment of clean energy strategies that prioritized practical implementation over idealistic goals. The consequences would reshape American energy independence forever, creating opportunities that electric vehicle advocates had never imagined possible. Global transformation. What happens when America leads the world in clean technology innovation again? The international implications of natural gas technology success extended far beyond transportation, positioning American manufacturers to dominate markets that had been surrendered to foreign competitors. Political ramifications of American natural gas technology exports created diplomatic opportunities while strengthening domestic manufacturing. Corporate strategy evolved as international manufacturers licensed X15N technology, recognizing superior performance that their alternatives couldn't match. Industry transformation toward fuel-agnostic transportation systems offered flexibility that electric mandates had eliminated. Competitive dynamics shifted as global markets embraced American innovation that solved rather than created operational problems. Liu Wei, transportation planning director for a major Chinese logistics company, had spent months evaluating electric alternatives before discovering American natural gas technology that exceeded performance expectations while reducing operational complexity. Corporate drama behind international partnership negotiations revealed global recognition of American technological leadership. Personal stories from international markets adapting American natural gas solutions illustrated worldwide demand for practical clean technology. Cultural significance of American manufacturing excellence regaining global respect resonated through industrial communities that had watched jobs migrate overseas. The technological achievement represented reversal of trends that had disadvantaged American workers for decades. Future scenarios where natural gas becomes global transportation standard positioned domestic manufacturers to lead rather than follow international competition. Global consequences of renewable natural gas production scaling internationally created energy networks that enhanced rather than replaced existing systems. Power dynamics between established energy powers and emerging clean technology, leaders shifted as American innovation demonstrated superior capabilities. The transformation represented technological diplomacy that strengthened rather than strained international relationships. Meanwhile, the next revolution was already beginning, as engineers prepared to reveal how natural gas technology would bridge to hydrogen economy leadership. The hydrogen bridge. The biggest surprise wasn't what natural gas achieved. It was what it made possible. The X15N platform that had revolutionized natural gas technology was designed from inception to accommodate hydrogen fuel, positioning current investments for next-generation energy transition. Cross-sector impacts linked current natural gas success to future hydrogen economy development, creating seamless evolution rather than disruptive replacement. Historical parallels between natural gas adoption and upcoming energy transitions revealed strategic planning that anticipated rather than reacted to technological change. Pattern recognition in technology, evolution, and market preparation showed how successful transitions required bridge technologies that enhanced rather than eliminated existing capabilities. Strategic lessons for managing complex energy transitions demonstrated American leadership in planning sustainable technological evolution. The engineering team that developed X15N had quietly incorporated hydrogen compatibility into platform architecture, ensuring that current adopters could transition seamlessly to next-generation fuel systems. Personal stories from engineers developing hydrogen-compatible natural gas platforms illustrated foresight that positioned American manufacturers for continued leadership. Corporate drama escalated as entire industries prepared for next-generation fuel systems that built upon rather than replaced current investments. Community impact on regions' positioning for hydrogen economy leadership created economic opportunities that extended natural gas advantages into future energy systems. The technological bridge represented continuity rather than disruption in economic development. Future projections showed natural gas as a central foundation for hydrogen future, validating current investments while preparing for continued evolution. Cross-sector impacts on energy production, transportation, and economic policy revealed comprehensive transformation that natural gas technology had initiated. Global consequences of American leadership in transitional energy technologies positioned domestic industry for continued dominance in clean transportation markets. The innovation represented strategic planning that other nations would follow, rather than challenge. John O'Leary's gamble hadn't just changed trucking, it had changed everything, creating foundation for American energy independence and technological leadership that would define the next century of global competition. Freightliner just flipped the script on the entire electric vehicle narrative, and the ripple effects are only beginning. So if you want to stay ahead of what's really happening behind the scenes in clean transportation, like this video, drop your take in the comments and subscribe so you never miss what the mainstream buries. The next chapter is already being written, and you're going to want to be here when it breaks.